Welcome to the Living Connected podcast. I'm your host, Mallory Meyer. I'm a multi-six-figure online entrepreneur, founder of White Wolf Reiki, and creator of the Frequency Business Mastery School. I weave together the metaphysical with the science of the subconscious mind and timeless business principles to help you take your passion for serving and empowering others full time. I'm not just here to teach you how to build a profitable and aligned business, but to invite in more authenticity, awareness, clarity, and certainty in what, who, and how you serve. In return, to generate more sales as you cultivate greater confidence and wealth through deeper self-sovereignty and advocacy, inviting in a trauma-sensitive approach to protocols and processes in our marketing and selling as we honor each client's humanity in the process of living more connected. This podcast is here to connect you further to your self-mastery for business, your lifestyle, and of course, your mindset. Join me on my mission to uplift and elevate the collective to love and light. So I feel very called in this episode to offer a little bit of a spotlight and speak further to the 3 mystic tools which really have supported me in my journey in becoming and stepping into the work that I offer. If you've had the chance to listen to episode 1, you heard a lot of my journey and me speaking to receiving Reiki, what Reiki had to offer for me, and carrying that forward with my work. But there were these 3 mystic tools that really gave me a moment of not just aha, but appreciation in really starting to understand myself on such a deeper level, to come into greater levels of acceptance, of love, of wholeness, and almost just this appreciation and permission of course, this is the way that I am, and I don't need to change that. Each 3 have offered such a unique lens and ability for me to really stand in a much more empowered place in who it is that I'm being and how I'm showing up. And it's also why I love to incorporate it with my work and extend the offering with clients to go and explore as we are starting to create their offer and build their business, that they too can start to integrate some of these pieces of information without also getting too stuck in the amount that we can consume when we have these awakening moments of actualization and realization of who we are. And I do really want to disclose in sharing these tools as well that it really allowed me to come back to my power and to reclaim it, to discern how does this really apply for me uniquely without necessarily outsourcing that message or looking outside of myself for that direction from a healer or from a Reiki master or any other guide, or essentially, especially when we tap into these tools, people that are very specialized in this area to tell me otherwise how I should be living. So with everything that I share on this podcast, take what resonates and leave the rest. And on that note, let's dive into tool number 1. This one is also number 1 because it was the very first mystic tool that I stumbled upon. Actually, I was listening to a podcast myself, and there was a conversation around this taking place now in 2019, to which it's such a vivid memory that's been placed in my mind because it offered me to practically stop in my tracks as I was going on this neighborhood walk and look up my unique human design. And what I discovered was I am a 4-1 projector. But what does that actually mean? And so really when I looked into it, being myself as a projector, that vehicle of my design, looking at the strategy of I wait for invitation as, again, the terminology that follows a projector. And then, of course, my authority being splenic. Now, with this, that was truly enough. Of course, I dove into what a 4-1 really embodied and what it meant. And also, of course, what it was to really be a projector and the words around typically guides. And this is really where I started to understand this permission slip to be me within my human design. even knowing that my authority itself was in the splenic area, always being such an intuitive being, the empathic side of things, picking up the messages in that way. And from that information alone, I really determined it was enough. I didn't need to go seek out more at this point in time. I didn't need to understand all about my gates. I really just wanted to take that alone and let it integrate, because there were parts of it that I could really let define me. And what I mean by this is essentially that statement of wait for an invitation. I know, as this was during the period of time to which I was really starting to establish my business, holding on to a thought of, well, because I'm a projector, I need to wait for the invitation. And it was almost as if it was a self-sabotage mechanism of my own, having that thought and holding on to that belief that it's not right for me to go and make the invitation for others or go tap individuals on the shoulder, perhaps, just to make the ask, because if they so desire to make the decision to work with me, I will wait for that invitation. And instead of really letting that define me and completely take over from a business lens of things, I just truly honored what it was there for, while also strengthening myself and my own confidence of, how do I define making an invitation? What does that look like for my business, and how can that still be one that is very open, offering choice, offering context, but also doesn't come across as perhaps that salesy or pushy lens? Of course, those are not the thoughts that I'm holding, and therefore knowing that that energy does not carry forward in how I'm delivering my messaging and my marketing. So if you don't know your human design, I'll actually leave a link in the show notes for you to go explore and find out the very simplistic graph that you can receive that is free in understanding more about your human design and carrying that forward however which way you desire to. Next, number 2 was my North Node. And as with everything, when we start to open up our channel, become more aware, and recognize the signs and the teachers that have been placed on our path, it all comes together and unfolds so beautifully, letting go of that control. And the reason why I say that is, again, with each of these mystic tools, I really had no awareness of them. I wasn't seeking them out. I wasn't searching for a piece of understanding. It was the experts, the teachers, those who held knowledge and greater understanding in the tool were presented. And so in receiving this community discussion with this individual who knew so much about our North Node and how it was really our guiding north, true north light, I dove in immediately through the gift of the app Time Passages, which is completely free to download and just understand more of your birth chart and astrology, but really in witnessing my North Node being in Aries. And the biggest thing about our North Node is it truly is, like I just mentioned, that guiding light to the path of which we are here. We reincarnated on Earth at this time to pursue. And so with everything in this podcast coming back into more connectedness, coming back into living in that authority, in that connected state of, this makes, again, this huge aha moment of, I am on the right path, because at this point in my business, it was already having sustainable income, being full-time, and it really just cracked my mind open to read the words of my specific North Node. And when we think about the South Node, that in itself is almost like looking at past lives, things that we've been really great at in our comfort zone. So our North Node is also here to stretch us, to challenge us, to also be that light to guide us into what we have the potential to be. And lastly, what I'll just make mention of with your North Node, because again, I'm not the expert here, I'm just sharing my experience, my wisdom with it, but it really is here to represent the path that you are growing into through this life. Really, when we look at it, it's our destiny. But the North Node, conversely, can represent that lesson that you must learn in this lifetime. So whether it be a piece of discovery, a piece of empowerment, a piece of just assurance. I've always said, especially when I used to hold Akashic record readings for clients, more often than not, they were just pieces of validation that you already knew within yourself. And it was just almost shining and mirroring that light back within so you could start to see it and it could start to glimmer. And it's truly how I look at all these three tools because it's always been within us, it's always been within myself, but it wasn't until I had that, again, awareness or that piece outside of me come forward just to say it in a different way that it really clicked. And the very last piece of the third mystic tool here within this episode that I will be sharing with you is that of your life path number. And this is something that's also really fascinating to look into. It may hold a lot of resonance into ways of which you operate today and just gaining a better understanding of your strengths and weaknesses. And if you are curious to know, my life path number is 1, which really stems into being a natural born leader. And it really just made me laugh to put this final piece together in these beautiful 3 mystic tools that we can dive into as a piece again for guidance. Because something else that it's really helped to offer for me in bringing in a new lens and approach is holding space for clients with understanding how it is that I operate. So the more that you can dive into each as you so choose and desire to, again, it will just allow you to feel much more clarity, certainty, confidence in your management, your leadership, who it is that you are here to be, and what it is that you are here to create, offering this little vantage point, let's call it. Even more so, and expanding on this even deeper, what I've additionally loved in bringing forward these 3 mystic tools with my work for my clients is getting a better understanding of them in their unique humanity and how I can show up at that highest level to meet them where they're at and honor their experiences and what it is that they are truly cultivating. And more so than anything, what I find lends a hand to this is the human design. If you do decide to take an interest into each unique human design, you'll really start to recognize perhaps a theme. And I say this again from my own experience of that specific design holding maybe some specific strengths, weaknesses that can really help to support the client right at the beginning, depending on where they too desire to go. So, as always, I would love to hear how this episode landed for you, and if you may already have an awareness of any of these 3 mystic tools, come and share it with me. Come find me on Instagram, send me a message. I'd love to learn more about how the tool has lended to your life, to your business, and whatever that looks like for you. Always remember, this is a journey we are on. You're not meant to know everything in this instance, so hold that space. Give yourself that grace and have the compassion. Maybe this is the very first time that you're stumbling upon these tools, and you're also just in a moment of, where have they been all my life? Why haven't I known this? And just trusting this is exactly where you're supposed to be. Thank you, as always, for just taking the time to tune in this week, and look forward to reconnecting next week. If you're an energy healer desiring to build and scale a profitable and aligned business, there are 2 evergreen opportunities to explore to take that next step together. One is my 10-week course, mastermind, and coaching accelerator known as Frequency Business Mastery School. This is more than just your normal one-to-one course and coaching program. It truly fills the gap that most programs fail to address with this subconscious reprogramming and identity shifts that take place within you. It has self-paced modules, but the program also has these subconscious elements, so we're busting through the blocks that have kept you from experiencing the success that you want while simultaneously regulating your nervous system to calmly and safely expand your energetics towards that which you do desire to create in your business. You also have teachings and lessons to enhance your psychic gifts and biohack your energy with the tools provided. All of this is delivered into your hands so you can feel empowered and confident implementing beyond this program, even when blocks arrive in the future. Secondly, I have one spot open next month to onboard a new one-to-one 6-month client to receive that highest level of support and resources as you choose to build and scale a business. Links for each are available in the show notes.